Welcome back to the next episode of the Grow Wealth podcast. Well, I am excited today because we're going to be talking about a very exciting topic. A few of you have reached out to me and specifically asked for a show on virtual real estate. Well, today I'm delivering that to you. We're going to talk about the metaverse. That is our topic of the day. And we all know it's getting a lot of buzz in the news in recent months. I personally first found out about it when Facebook's Zuckerberg changed the name to Meta and committed to hiring 10,000 employees to develop it. So since then, every day there is something on the news. All these brands are jumping in: Louis Vuitton, Balenciaga. We've got governments. We've got the Barbados Embassy. The city of Toronto is creating a digital twin of itself in the metaverse. So all these early adopters are diving in and seeing the opportunity in it and claiming a space for themselves for the monetization potential of it. So virtual real estate is a growing market, so much that the demand in the last 6 months has made a parcel of land double. And I was just looking at a white paper by JP Morgan, and they are estimating that the metaverse will be valued at $800 billion in 2024. So the metaverse economy has so much potential, not just for monetization, but what excites me about it is it's a clean slate to push boundaries for creativity. So we're all asking, what is it? Do I invest in it? How do I invest in it? What's the strategy? And is the time now? And it's great that we take the hype out of it and learn as much as we can and understand the reality of it before we jump in. And I have invited a special guest today, industry leader who's shaping the future of the metaverse. Not only that, he is a highly creative serial entrepreneur doing some cutting edge, phenomenal work. His name is Hrish Lotlikar. He's the co-founder and CEO of Superworld, and Superworld is one of the major players out there in the metaverse. And he was recently featured on CNBC, New York Times, and recently also named one of the 30 most influential people in the metaverse technology space, as well as being recently listed as one of the top 50 global digital futurists to watch out for in 2022. And let me add, he is also the co-founder of the Rogue Initiative, which is a Hollywood-based film, TV, VR, and game development company. So he's going to simplify the metaverse for us and take us into his world of Superworld. Hi, Hrish.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here and excited to share our vision.
Absolutely. So let's start with you. What brought you into the metaverse space, and specifically, what inspired you to create your company, Superworld?
So, again, the metaverse is a very expansive new frontier as we think of kind of the next stage of the internet. And how we think about it at Superworld is it's really a combination of a variety of technologies: AR, VR, blockchain, AI, in that, NFTs, which is a big buzzword, but, in the future, it'll be other technologies as well. And, again, as IoT and, other things, even on the blockchain, like DAOs and DeFi, this is all really comprising all of what we think of as the metaverse. How I got in to this space is, my career has been a combination of, I started off in management consulting, and then I worked on Wall Street. I did investment banking. Of all places, I started off in the real estate investment banking group at UBS Investment Bank. And
that makes sense.
yeah, it's funny, how life works out, right? You can't connect the dots going forward, only backward. So, again, creating the virtual real estate market in Superworld really, again, is really aided by my, foundational work on the traditional real estate side in investment banking, and then got into venture capital, investing early across tech companies in New York, started a couple of venture capital funds in Europe, and got involved in a number of platform companies. Was an early investor in a company called Preply, was an early, which is a top platform for educational tutors around the world. Also was the first biz dev early employee at a company called TopTal, which is a talent marketplace, very globally backed by Andreessen Horowitz. And then, as you mentioned, about 6 years ago, I started Rogue Initiative Studios, which is a film, television, gaming, and virtual reality studio. My co-founder produced Call of Duty, Modern Warfare series, and Ghosts, and my production partner there is Michael Bay, the action director. And so at Rogue Initiative, what we do is we build franchises from the ground up: feature film, television, gaming, virtual reality, all the way to amusement park rides and toys. And getting into that is what got me into AR and VR. We're backed by many of the top AR, VR venture capital funds in Silicon Valley and globally. It really taught me about the importance of cross-platform content, feature film, television, gaming, virtual reality. All these pieces of content are really combined and have kind of synergies and crossover in a variety of areas. And when Pokemon Go had come out, which again showed us that we could create content in the real world that was very compelling, that people would walk around and look at, it kind of brought the whole vision of Superworld together, which was, how do you empower people to create, discover, and monetize anything anywhere? And bringing blockchain into that is, how do you enable them to actually own the world as well, own the locations that they're creating content on?
Fantastic. Now, since this is so emerging, we're in the beginning stages of the metaverse, even the blockchain, those words still confuse people. Blockchain, NFTs, the whole Web 3.0. How would you explain the metaverse to someone just learning about it for the first time, just listening today for the first time? Can you do that in the context of your company, maybe?
Yeah, sure. Again, there's a lot of different buzzwords, as you mentioned aptly, and a lot of people that a lot of them that not everyone completely has a handle around. And in the context of our company, I think that's a great way of asking that question, which is the interesting thing about Superworld is we often see and hear that it's called the gateway to the metaverse, and the reason why is that a lot of people, as you said very correctly, don't understand what the metaverse is. They don't understand, how they can get into AR and VR. They don't understand what NFTs are really about or why they're so interesting. And they don't understand, potentially what is the combination of blockchain and AI and all these other technologies here. But they do understand where they live. They do understand where they go on vacation. They do understand where they spend time in the real world. And that's what makes Superworld different. Superworld is focused on the real world and your real life. And so in Superworld, what someone can simply do to enter the metaverse is they have to understand that, they just have to figure out where it is in the world that they love. And, whether that's where they live or they grow up or where they have their business, they can come onto Superworld. They can open up a wallet, right? It's called a Web3 wallet. They can put some Ethereum in their wallet. They have to get some crypto. They can use a credit card to do that, right? And literally within 3 steps, they can search for a place in the world, acquire a place they know. Like I said, place they have a business, place they live. There's a lot of places in the world people love. And now, once they've acquired a place, guess what? They own a decentralized asset. They own, which is called an NFT, a non-fungible token. Now they're getting, again, a share of any of the economics that happen in that place on the Superworld platform. And they're able to now start creating things in augmented reality using Superworld. They're able to create NFTs. They're able to better understand, how all of these things interact, because now they're a stakeholder. And that's what Web3 is all about. And this is what the metaverse is all about, which is, how do you enable people to be empowered? And what that means is Web 2 was all about interacting on the web. Web 3 is about ownership of the web, right? And so that's why I said, the easiest way for someone to get involved in Web3 and the metaverse is Superworld. And that's kind of what we're seeing in terms of user behavior. Is I get, customers all the time telling me, thanks so much. Now I got a place, they're very proud of it. They're, they covet it, and they're able to kind of take that next step. And that's kind of how we're serving as that gateway.
Now, what is the next step? I know a lot of people are buying land to develop on it, develop cities, or develop a store to create an experience. Can you do that with Superworld? What is the next step with you once they get that piece of property?
Yeah. So again, just to be clear, Superworld is mapped on top of the real world. So it's around us, right? So we're both in Superworld right now. And when I talk about virtual real estate in Superworld, I'm talking about real world places. Now, there's a number of other virtual worlds out there, probably the most famous being Decentraland and Sandbox, right? Those are really awesome virtual worlds. But just to be clear, they exist in a virtual environment, right? So they're not mapped on top of the real world. And, again, Superworld is enabling people to go from Superworld into other places, other crypto, other virtual worlds. And so we kind of want to be that gateway. But once you buy land in Superworld, what we enable you to do, again, is our vision is we want you to be able to create anywhere in the world, okay? With, any type of content, 3D, 2D, audio, anything. Okay. We want you to be able to discover content from anywhere. Okay. And then we want you to be able to monetize. So how do we do that now? So first of all, in Superworld, you can use your phone, your mobile phone, and add content directly from your camera roll, whether it's photos or videos. You can add them in real world locations. In fact, this week we're asking people in protest of the war to add content all over the world showing off their support of Ukraine, support for peace, and to demonstrate what's happening in places in Ukraine around the world, so people can see and really understand the gravity of what's happening there. And so again, we enable content creation, content monetization, and content discovery. And again, NFTs can be placed as well. We have an NFT marketplace. So you can turn all this content into digital assets that you can sell.
Correct. And how do we access it? Is there an app? Do we put on VR glasses? How do we go into the Superworld?
So Superworld is cross-platform. We're hardware agnostic, we're software agnostic, we're blockchain interoperable. Currently, we're on web. So the best way to access Superworld is Google it, superworldapp.com. Go to the web. You can buy the real estate on the web. You can also access content on the web. So anywhere on the map, we have an AR view. You can see what people are placing around the world in augmented reality. You can go click on NFT view. You can see what digital assets people are selling around the world. Or you can download the mobile app and also see content in augmented reality and look at it on the map and do other things, place content using the mobile application. You can also place NFTs around the world using the web. So there's a variety of ways of accessing Superworld. Probably the best way at this point is go to the website. You can get all the information. But the idea is that over time, we'll be on audio, we'll be on haptic suits, we'll be on the new glasses that come out, we'll be in VR headsets. We want to be wherever our customers are. That's what's really important to us.
Okay. And how is this land valued? How big is a parcel? How would you analyze? I know you represent real places in the world, but what about the other metaverses? How is that land valued?
Mm-hmm. So we have divided the surface of the earth into 64 billion plots of land. Each plot covers a city block, 100 meters by 100 meters. It's 0.01 longitude, 0.01 latitude. And when you buy a block, you're buying an NFT, as I said, a digital asset on Ethereum. And each plot unpurchased is 0.1 Ether, which is about, $300 or so right now, right? And if you, again, buy a plot, you're getting a share of all of the economics that happen there: advertising, e-commerce, digital commerce, data analytics, and gaming. And again, once you buy a plot, it is your digital assets. It's decentralized. So you own that plot. You're buying a part of Superworld, right? So if you're like, hey, you know what? I get the vision here. I get what they're trying to do. You can come on board and then buy plots of land wherever, the world that's special to you. That's what I always say. Everyone has a special place. But once you own one of those plots, you can reprice it to whatever you want, right? So if you're like, hey, you know what? I just bought a prime piece of Newport Beach or Los Angeles, whatever it happens to be. You know what? I just bought it for $300 or whatever the price is, 0.1 Ether. You can reprice it to what you want. You're like, you know what? This should be priced at, $100,000 or 500,000, whatever you want to price it at. And then again, there's likely other people who might also value that plot and might want to buy it from you at a price you've set, or another price that you can negotiate with the buyer. And then as an owner of the plot, you're able to, again, accrete value or do things by creating, businesses. Again, Barbados is building an embassy in Superworld. So, it's limitless what you can do. The whole world's a video game. So you can create
you can build on it as well.
Yes.
So the Barbados Embassy is in Superworld.
Barbados is building an embassy in Superworld. Metaverse Group just announced that they're investing, $2 million across Decentraland and Superworld.
Correct. I saw that with Lauren Sugarman. Yes.
Yeah. And we have, lots of real estate buyers, real world real estate buyers, real world real estate developers buying land in Superworld, making very big bulk purchases of land all over the world. We have prop tech investors investing into the company. I'm speaking to a very senior group of mortgage bankers in Las Vegas next week at a very big mortgage banking conference. So the real world is what we're focused on. And there's a lot of real world developers that are getting into Superworld.
Yeah, such creative potential. Where do you see this in 5 years from now?
Well, in 5 years, what we want to be is ubiquitous with the real world. So again, when we think of the real world and we think of Superworld, we want that to be the same. And so what I mean by that is I want to keep you in the real world, right? So the focus of Superworld is we're a life enhancing platform. We're not a life escaping platform. That's our difference. It might sound ironic to build a virtual world that's focused on the real world and your real life, but that's what we're doing. What we want to do is, again, enhance the things that you do in your real world. That we have a term for this. We call it passionware. One of our investment partners calls it that. And we have this concept called live to earn. There's a concept called play to earn that you hear a lot in gaming, which is you play video games and you earn crypto.
All the kids are doing.
Yeah. And what we're doing is live to earn, which is how can I enable tokenomics to enable you to pursue your passions, whether that is, getting Nike to pay for you to go on a run or getting Remax to give you some crypto to go to 10 open houses this week, right? Look at properties, right? And the idea is that there's a lot of things we're passionate about in the real world that we're doing in the real world that we can add virtuality to enhance. And that is our focus. So the answer is in 5 years, I want you to, again, everything that you do, I want you to be connected to Superworld when you do those activities, because I want you to do the real life in an active way, but I also want you to benefit from that in your analog activities from virtuality and vice versa. If you can't get there in the real world, maybe you can visit virtually or discover virtually, right?
Right. All right. I have 2 more questions to ask you before we wrap it up. The first one is, should we invest now? Is now the right time, or should we wait? What are your thoughts on that? I know the answer, but I want to hear your thoughts.
It's a great question. And, again, I always say that, if you understand what we're doing, if you understand the potential of these technologies, you understand kind of how the world is moving. And, I would say that there's a variety of technology inflection points that have really accelerated this movement in the last 5 years, 5G, mobile technology, AR
AI.
software, headsets, And I would say COVID has really also kind of helped us realize that we have to be more virtual, and even also that we love being more virtual. It's easier to sometimes get on a Zoom call than go into an office, right? And
Absolutely.
so if you understand that we're all moving to this location, internet of locations, right? If you understand that we're moving into an immersive environment, the answer then is, do you want to own those environments, or do you want to rent those environments, right? And right now, the opportunity to own many of those environments is available in Superworld, right? You can come to Superworld, and in many locations, you can still pick up some pretty awesome places that people want to acquire. So it is really good timing to come and again acquire properties, virtual real estate in Superworld, because of the benefits of timing there. And again, you don't have to buy properties. You can still create content and create assets and do all the things you want in Superworld for free, right? But if you're asking about buying virtual land, that's when you come in and you become a stakeholder. Again, you're part of the platform, and so timing wise, it's a really good time to do that.
Wonderful. And finally, I'm very impressed with the social impact component of your company. Can you talk a little bit about some of the initiatives you're doing? I saw Rise from the Ashes, Disaster Fighters. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So, a big part of our mission is how to build a better world, right? We're very interested in, again, building a platform that actually improves the real world, enhances people's real lives, right? And so the idea there is, what we want to do is, again, build out a platform that, again, enables all of this user activity, things that we're kind of doing collectively to create positivity in the world, right? So when you buy a plot of land in Superworld, we plant trees in the real world. We're partnered with the World Bank in the Caribbean to help with disaster recovery, with hurricane season and what happened with Haiti. We're partnered with the United Nations and UNESCO to help rebuild cities like Beirut, Lebanon. Again, in fact, about a month ago, we brought together 2 tribes in the Amazon jungle that have been at war for 500 years, brought them together, to create art in the Amazon to people to discover from everywhere in the world. And I told you what we're doing right now around the world for the war in Ukraine. But I think we're strongly of the belief that, we can help people if they understand what's happening in the world around them. We can enable anyone to become a superhero, right? Superworld, right? And if you could click some buttons and actually do actions that help people in the world, that's what this technology could really enable. And you can vote and have governance. We can bring people together into Superworld. Hopefully we can help stop wars like what's happening now. There's a lot of potential here, and we're very excited about that as part of our mission to build a better world.
Excellent. All right, Hrish, thank you so much for your time today. There's lots of valuable information for us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to being back and sharing more as we continue to develop. And thanks for helping us share our mission to build a better world.
Absolutely. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.